nursing home, and I worked there for just over 3 years. In that time, I experienced roughly 60 people passing away.
So an assisted dying bill has been introduced in the House of Lords, sparking a significant and heartfelt debate.
The assisted dying bill, can we talk about it? Because I'm very, very, very concerned as someone that lives with disabilities in the UK.
Being legally able to end your life in the UK took one step closer today.
Was that assisted dying was no better than murder.
Just passed the bill so we can do assisted dying.
I know a lot of people, especially within the disabled community, are scared that this bill could eventually affect them.
Decriminalising abortion and assisted dying at a time where we've rolled back disability benefits, to me, is very suspicious.
Let's talk about assisted dying in the UK. Because when life becomes unbearable, the question isn't just how long can I live, but how long should I be forced to? For decades, this topic has lived in the shadows, whispered in hospital corridors, debated in Parliament, and quietly carried by families watching loved ones suffer. But now, with the assisted dying bill gaining traction, the UK is standing at a moral crossroads. Should terminally ill, mentally competent adults have the legal right to choose a dignified death? Or does legalising assisted dying risk turning compassion into coercion? This isn't just a legal debate, it's a deeply human one. It's about autonomy, about dignity, about the right to say, enough. So if you've ever watched someone you love fade away in pain, if you've ever wondered why we treat suffering as a requirement for virtue, if you believe that choice should exist, even at the end, this video is for you. Stick around, because we're unpacking the ethics, the law, the heartbreak, and the hope behind one of the UK's most controversial conversations. Hit subscribe, because understanding this issue isn't just empathy, it's activism.
Recently I made a video about my support for the legalisation of assisted dying, and one of the arguments I received in response was that assisted dying was no better than murder. And so I thought I'd make a quick video to compare two scenarios, just to see if other people share that same view. On the one hand, we have what most people consider to be murder, which is intentionally killing someone who does not want to die, and on the other hand, we have assisting a terminally ill person who wants to die and has no quality of life left in having a peaceful and dignified end to their lives. Are these two situations really the same? I don't think so, but if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments and we can discuss.
Like, obviously, I'm buzzing. Obviously, Parliament have just passed the bill so we can do assisted dying, leaving this earth. About bloody time. Who do people think they are? Who do people think they fucking are in this world, telling us, yeah, we can't give up the fight and we can't help our dear beloved friends, family, whatever it is. And, you know, if that's their wish, man. Let them deal with it. And I will help you. I will help you. Might be a fee. But, like I said, I've always said to all my friends and family, don't let me go like that. Help me. And by fucking thank God, we got it. We fucking got it. Let's do this shit, people.
If you think of legislation going through at the moment, what's the big moral issue that we're debating in Parliament? It's the assisted dying bill, which is a big deal.
And abortion, but the
abortion one
isn't
isn't coming to the House of Lords next, but the assisted dying one's coming soon. And that's a big deal. I mean, I've got my own views on that. I'm happy to talk about. But you know, you're allowing states to sponsor death without putting too fine a point on it, and that's complicated. And all the issues around the kitchen table that everyone will have talked about, there's sort of for, there's sort of against issues that you're going to face if you bring this in. We're lucky that we've got the House of Lords, that they've got the expertise there, and the sort of a different view on things that will enable us, I think, probably to get to a much better conclusion to do that.
I think with assisted dying, though, as I've talked with one of the people who support those legislation,
Decriminalizing abortion and assisted dying at a time where we've rolled back disability benefits, to me, is very suspicious. Biggest argument when it comes to legalizing both of these things is the quality of life of disabled people, right? With abortion, it's the quality of life of a potential fetus, right? And then with assisted dying, it's the quality of life of a disabled person that's already here or somebody in great amounts of pain, that kind of thing. So personally, I find it really suspicious that whilst we have done things that are going to ensure a decrease in quality of life for disabled people, we are now also legalizing things that will either stop them from existing or just get rid of them. And to me, that's weird. It just reads to me as legalizing eugenics. And trust me, I wish that we could have changes in society that increase our choice, that we wouldn't have to question because we would know that it was a sign of progress. But to me, in a time where the government is never ever doing anything that is in our best interest, it's hard for me to believe that at the same time they're suddenly giving us more choice. No, it really feels like they're trying to say, no, it's okay, if you're disabled you can die. And if that's not what it is, then I'm going to need these MPs to walk right back into that drawing room and start coming up with ways to support disabled people. Because right now, the only support they're offering is to die. And that is weird.
To think that you're going into the Houses of Parliament today to vote on assisted dying. What would you vote for, guys? Would you vote to allow it, to allow people who are critically ill to take their own life and die in peace? Or would you vote against it because, of course, it opens up a whole load of abuse opportunities for family and other people to encourage people to take their lives? Imagine you're an MP right now. You have a free vote, yes or no. Yes, I'm going to support it. I'm going to let there be assisted dying. No, I'm not. Tell me what you do. That's it. I'm not going to tell you what I'd do yet. Tell me what you do. I'm not influencing anyone. I want you to imagine you're there and your decision, if you win today, is going to affect either loads of people who want to take their own lives because they are in pain, or loads of people who are worried that they're going to be encouraged to take their own life because of inheritance tax or because they don't get on with their kids or whatever. Put it in the chat, guys. Here we go. Test the nation. Take care. See ya.
Being legally able to end your life in the UK took one step closer today after MPs voted in the first vote on the bill to provisionally approve assisted dying legislation in the UK. Now, just because that vote has been passed today doesn't mean that it will automatically become the new law. There will be the second reading stage before it then moves on, I think, to the House of Lords for it to be debated. It's saying that if any new law changes come into force, the earliest it would be 2026. So up until it does, or whatever does become law, it is still a criminal offence to assist anybody in ending their life. But of course, if this passes into law, this will ultimately mean that euthanasia will be legalised for the first time ever in the UK. Now, previously it has gone through Parliament when the votes were not there to pass any legislation, but I think it shows a real shift in relation to societal thinking in relation to how we deal with people at end of life care. But of course, it always raises issues about who has capacity. Are they doing it for the right reasons? Are they feeling influenced by other people, or are they feeling the burden? And I think that's why the law has always been really cautious in the past before deciding that actually this should be made legal into the UK.
The assisted dying bill, can we talk about it? Because I'm very, very, very concerned as someone that lives with disabilities in the UK. I'm so concerned about vulnerable people and them being pushed into this because there isn't the support in the UK to really give people that have disabilities the healthcare that they deserve, to give them the lives that they deserve. People are still fighting for PIP and they want to bring this in. I'm quite perplexed as to how an organisation that does do a lot of good but fails so many people like the NHS would be the one qualified to decide who gets offered assisted dying. Like, I am genuinely so confused and so concerned that if this goes through, so many lives will be affected. I am so concerned, and it's just another reason why we have to advocate for our health. We have to advocate for the healthcare that we deserve. We have to make the complaints. We have to say something, because if we don't do that, then we risk our actual health getting worse and putting us in a vulnerable position, like having a few months to live.
Controversial, this one, and I'm genuinely caught between the two. The topic, assisted dying. There's going to be a vote on it in Parliament this month. Government and the opposition both agree party lines are not going to be drawn. Every MP can vote according to their own conscience, take individual thoughts, speak to constituents, speak to anybody they want to, and vote the way that they think is best on this one. It's only to be made available, apparently, to people who've got terminal health conditions and not that long left. It's hard, isn't it? I'm torn. I'm sincerely torn. Anything you've got to say, I would like to read. So please pop it in the comments. I know there's positives for it. Finishing suffering for people that don't want to suffer anymore and they're not coming out of hospital, etc. There's arguments against it. We all know there will be cases where, legal permissions have been given for other people. I forgot what it's called, but legal permission has been given for other people to make decisions, and they want that done, and it's going to be heartbreaking. Yes or no? For or against? Anything you can think of to put. I'm interested. Please stay safe and enjoy yourselves.
I've been getting a lot of comments on my assisted dying bill video, and I appreciate that there are a lot of strong opinions either way. And I just want to further discuss my decision as to why I support the bill, because I know a lot of people, especially within the disabled community, are scared that this bill could eventually affect them, affect disabled people. This bill could eventually change, because right now it's only for terminally ill patients within 6 months, so if they have 6 months to live. But there is, valid concern that this bill could eventually evolve to include disabled people. I support the bill as it currently stands now with terminally ill patients who have 6 months to live. And I know you don't support the bill, but I just want to highlight something very, very crucial as someone who has had a family member die a very slow, painful death. That is not the same as someone who is willing and thriving in life despite their disability. My best friend is disabled, and I would never, ever equate her or put her in the same bracket as my father, who suffered for months because of esophageal cancer. Esophageal cancer that robbed him of almost everything he loved in this world, to the point by the end he was a shell of himself. He couldn't eat. My stepmom had to feed him through a tube. She had to take months off of work to take care of him, to be his carer. All the while knowing he was never going to get better. He was just going to get worse. He was just going to fade into nothingness, which he eventually did. Terminally ill patients might be disabled under the law, but I would not equate them with people who have a disability that are thriving in society, that are excited to live, that are, that don't have an expiration date. I would never put my friend who's in a wheelchair in the same bracket as my terminally ill father. It's just not the same thing.
I'm Dr. Candy, and I help you advocate for your health. So, an assisted dying bill has been introduced in the House of Lords, sparking a significant and heartfelt debate. The bill, brought forward by Lord Falconer, aims to allow terminally ill adults with less than 6 months to live to choose to end their lives, with strict safeguards in place, may I say. This includes a requirement for the individual to be mentally capable, approval from 2 doctors, and High Court authorization. Now, the issue of legalising assisted death has really gained a lot of attention, particularly with similar legislative moves in the Isle of Man, Scotland and Jersey occurring. Health Secretary Wes Streeting acknowledged that it is a very crucial time for this debate, but admits that he too remains undecided. Advocates for the bill, such as TV presenter Dame Esther Ranson, argue that it offers dignity and relief for those who suffer unbearably, highlighting the hope it brings to many terminally ill patients just like herself. Conversely, critics, such as the Church of England representatives, express concern over potential pressure on vulnerable individuals and the risk of unintended consequences. So the proposed bill will be discussed in mid-November, and there's a possibility that it might also be debated in the Commons following a September ballot. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer supports a free vote on the matter, emphasising the importance of individual MPs' perspective. So the debate encompasses both ethical and practical considerations, aiming to balance compassion for those suffering with the need to protect vulnerable populations. So this complex and emotional issue requires really careful deliberation from all sides to ensure that the best outcome for society is achieved. So what's my opinion? My opinion is some people just cannot be effectively palliated, and the pain can be excruciating, plus the uncertainty and then the feeling of lack of control of your body and your faculties all makes for a very horrible lack of dignity that comes with dying. I've seen my fair share of difficult endings, and to be honest, I cannot begin to imagine what those who are dying go through. But on the other foot, with anything, how do you really ensure that no one is taken advantage of? You know, even just one person is too much. And how is 6 months left to live being determined? It seems a little bit arbitrary, although some would argue it's a start. So what are your thoughts on the assisted dying bill?
It looks like assisted dying is coming to the UK, and I just wanted to give my thoughts on it as someone who is a carer and who is also disabled. These are my own thoughts and opinions based on my life experience. So please feel free to debate with me in a respectful way. That's completely fine. Not everybody's going to agree with this. It is a very divisive topic. Also, it's I'm going to be talking about some quite upsetting things. So if that's something that you don't want to hear about, then this is not a video for you. So a little bit of background. I used to work in a dementia and nursing home, and I worked there for just over 3 years. In that time, I experienced roughly 60 people passing away. And I have to say, out of all those 60 people that passed away while I was there, it was possibly more. I would say maybe 3 of them had what I would consider a good and peaceful death. The way that things currently work in this country is, and I'm not talking about hospice, I have no experience of hospice, so please correct me if things work differently there, but if you are in a care home, the way that things happen is you get put on palliative care, which means that you're basically not going to get any better, and then you are put on end of life. And once that happens, they usually withdraw all your medication. The doctor will come out and say, yeah, we're going to withdraw all medication, and you will be given some form of analgesia, usually morphine and midazolam, to help with pain. Chances are your swallowing is going to go, you won't be able to eat, you won't be able to drink, and most people, their body shuts down over a number of days or possibly even weeks. You'll be given mouth care, but you won't be given anything to drink because the risk of aspiration is so high that because your swallowing reflex is gone, that care staff can't give you anything to drink because they could quite literally kill you. Obviously, the body's breaking down during this time, and I have seen some really awful things in my time. I've seen some things that have left some real terrible impressions on me that I still think about. The skin breaks down. I've seen people that you get bed sores, pressure wounds, the skin tears. I've seen people leaking fluid to the point where the skin is just coming away in your hands. Like I said, this is going to be graphic, and it's awful. There's nothing dignified about it. And then there's the people who pass away on their own with nobody there because the care staff are so overworked that nobody has the time to sit with them. People experience terminal agitation, which is awful. I've had family members in tears, absolutely terrified because they don't know why their family members are acting the way that they are, seeing things in the room, seeing people in the room, fighting with things that aren't there. Just absolutely awful. These deaths aren't what I would call dignified. But sadly, when it comes to dementia, these people are probably not going to be in the right category they're not probably going to be able to access assisted dying, because I would expect that you would have to have capacity to be able to access it. And these people do not have capacity. They cannot give informed consent. And so therefore it's probably not going to help the people who would probably need it most to have a dignified and comfortable end to their life. For example, there was a woman who, in her care notes, it said that she had requested that she wanted to go to Switzerland if she was ever diagnosed with dementia. Now, this woman came to us, and it was very clear from the first day that she lacked capacity, and her daughter would not take her and have her diagnosed with dementia because she didn't want to be diagnosed. Therefore, there's no way that she would be able to access assisted dying, even though that's what she wanted. And because she didn't have the capacity. I mean, you could have a conversation with this woman and she would be able to say, yes, that's what I want. And then 10 minutes later, she'd forget that you even had the conversation. So therefore, you can't give informed consent. She can't grasp the long-term effects of her actions. I see the concern that people are saying that this is going to kill disabled people. I'm a disabled person myself. I have congenital hip dysplasia, and I have autism, and I have fibromyalgia. These conditions are not going to end my life, but they are going to get progressively worse. And some of them come with a great deal of pain, and I can see why it would be tempting to take those options. And I also worry that there's going to be pressure from family members for people to do that just because of the burden of care. Ultimately, it comes down to choice, and I think that it's a choice that people deserve to have, and I think that people deserve to have the option of a dignified death instead of what they have at the moment, which is literally you are starved until your body gives out. I think we'll just have to see what legislation's put in place, and I think it's going to have to be really rigidly controlled. But I do think it's a positive thing, and I think that you'll probably find that a lot of people in the care industry would agree. Anyway, if you've stuck with this, thank you. I think it's a discussion that we all need to have, and if you would like to have a discussion, feel free to post some comments and we'll get a discourse going.
So my people, current affairs from the United Kingdom. And now it's official. The UK is legalizing assisted dying for those who are terminally ill. Now doctors, Akacha say within 6 months ubewu. Ke hila ko yibo no be wale. Ni doctor ke hila ni yobo ake 6 months say ubagbo ake wale nwode ye di 2 minutes she wo sem say wobetumi make decisions no sa to me no yemfa mo obi akeke de nti ana mo mpese be mo obi akeke no wanhwe yi a so obi wo na adwen ka no na ye di pressure ebusua di pressure ama omudi nipa no akwa ending in life into no you see it's for those who are omo capacity. You can make an informed decision, and you need 2 doctors to back you up sign, including psychiatrists, social workers, and lawyers. Inti enyo obi akeke no betumi sorry na we see me kwako yesi without doctors 2 doctors certification, including social workers ni psychiatrists ni ade nyina so afen so mbe make sure say enye obi na pressure wo enye ebusuan bi because one hwe yi a obi wo hono a wa spend the whole lifetime wa ye adwuma service ka ba wo yare ni ntino na ebusuan bi pese owu ntem we kume commento na egbo na ka egbo nete ni ancho aka meje shika na meje e property e bonu minshi. So this is current affairs. It's still ongoing. Now I think it's going to go to House of Lords. Even the Prime Minister Ankasa Keir Starmer voted in favor of the assisted dying bill no. So current affairs Sisia or UK ameno kasa no. That is it. Next time no menu beba we kan de ekoso Sisia so another one. And so yesi Sisia de officially no. Akwala bia ebe wu no. Ewo UK no. Yebeye DNA from akwala no. And yet because of Muamumeka say be a paternity fraud I don't know for whatever reason. But I almost say send a baby to me prevent certain life-threatening diseases. Near the idea, until no dear, menya information in your name. But for now, no assisted dying bill no has been passed. It's going to continue to go to the House of Lords. But me see Enra was 2 days ago move vote no. Even Keir Starmer voted in favor of it. Intino the Bema everybody who is terminally ill, not doctor, and I say you can say within 6 months, ubi uno. Yema to me say you can decide so will end your life. I know some people will not agree with it. Whether you agree with it or not, you can share your thoughts in the comment section. I know some people will say, oh, I mean, it's against the will of God. Nipa die, e was say yet to me man hope, na want to maintain. But say why yare na yare na woman no. Wa to me who say baby odru no. One kasa wo si won pese live bi mo. You don't want to live again no. Also what to me say obe to me achusu say you want to end whole life no. Sebi ya brabo nyina akwa say ya na ye pese ye looking at life no as a one way. Yeah, the one way your life is not one way. Whether you like it or not, life no. There is nothing like one size fits all approach. Ewa brabo obi wo hono mo say why ye juma ewo hospital ewo care home sankofo ebre no mo suffer. Not the pain na nkofo ekomo no na is unbearable. Na nka wuwu ya nka opea. Anka umba metena se meka se ena nipa de adenti na wo say wo decide say opese okun I mean I'm not talking about ABR you are going through ABR menial situation bia you can handle it too. I'm talking about u yare ankasa yare no bi wo hono mo a wontumi nya ho hwe wo bewu but wo be breast ansa na wewu eno na ye ka enye ma stress ena ma yesi. That's not what we are talking about. Enye yare ebe to me enye problems ebe to me solve. We are talking about something that you can't do anything about it. Yes, we always know say miracle or hope or but ye pese edi to me man nipa na on to me making a decision. Some people no na kita in life or no abe to me make a decision. Send your person in life or no ekono and you want to me hwe mfa ho. Sa na me pese me chemu sa brabo no enye one way enye one size fits all approach. Intiminian ebusuafo nyemme say minya information about DNA no so nkwala na yesi yewu akwala bi ebe ni DNA to prevent some diseases about to me affect life threatening diseases now and also me the bebremo. Thank you all very much. Please go to the comment section and share your thoughts and your opinion. Thank you.
The conversation doesn't end here. We've unpacked the ethics. We've looked at the law. We've stared pain in the face and asked what dignity really means. And now comes the truth few dare to speak. In the United Kingdom, you can be dying, terminal, exhausted, ready, and still, legally, you're required to endure it. No matter how unbearable, no matter how cruel the final chapters. Unless you have the cash to fly to Switzerland and say your last goodbye in a sterile hotel room, far from the people you love, compassion outsourced, choice monetized, dignity behind a paywall, doctors do their best, palliative care is a gift. But here's the brutal reality. Medicine can't always silence agony, and no morphine drip gives you control. The law, it gives you a countdown with no escape. Why? Because we're afraid of coercion, afraid of slippery slopes, afraid that if we open the door to choice, someone might misuse it. But while we debate hypotheticals, real people suffer. While Parliament argues ethics, families watch loved ones scream through their final breaths. How did we get here? How did fear outrank empathy? Opponents say, what if someone's pressured to die? Supporters ask, what if someone's forced to live in torment? Both care. But only one asks what the suffering person wants. Autonomy is a right, not a reward. Suffering isn't proof of strength. And forcing someone to endure the unendurable, that isn't protection, it's punishment. This isn't about giving up. It's about letting go, with peace on your terms. Countries like Canada, Belgium, the Netherlands, they've found a way. Regulated, ethical, human. We can too. The Assisted Dying Bill proposes strict safeguards. Terminal diagnosis confirmed by 2 doctors. Clear, competent consent, a waiting period, judicial oversight. It's not reckless, it's respectful. And yet, every year, more families are broken by a system that says, you must suffer more. Imagine David, who died choking on his own fluids, or Margaret, who booked her final flight alone because the law forbids company. Her final words, I wish I could die at home. This isn't just policy, it's personal. It's trauma passed down. It's dignity denied. Religious voices differ. Some say suffering is sacred, others say mercy is divine. But more and more are asking, what kind of morality demands agony? What kind of love says stay when someone says, I'm ready? The truth is, assisted dying is coming. The question is whether we'll meet it with courage or cowardice. This video is a start, but the movement needs more than clicks. Talk about it. Challenge the taboo. Support organisations fighting for change. Write to your MP. Demand compassion. Be written into law. And above all, listen to those in pain, to families grieving, to voices silenced by shame. This isn't just about how we die. It's about how we live, how we love, how we honour the final page in someone's story. So if this moved you, don't scroll past. Share it. Speak on it. Stand for it. Because someday this will be a recognised right, and you'll be able to say, you helped make it happen. Subscribe, comment, keep this conversation alive.